The American dream, that timeless promise of opportunity, security, and a better life, seems more distant than ever for millions of people. Once known as the land where anyone could succeed through hard work, America is now facing a crisis that is growing louder and more visible by the day: homelessness. Streets that were once bustling with hopeful commuters are now lined with tents, cardboard shelters, and people trying to survive another day. And no, this is not just a problem of one city or one state. From California to New York, from sunny beaches to snow-covered sidewalks, the homeless population in America has exploded. And the reasons behind this aren't simple. They're woven into the fabric of our economy, our housing systems, our healthcare failures, and even our attitude toward poverty itself. Let's start with what's happening on the streets. Walk through downtown Los Angeles, and you'll see entire encampments stretching block after block. In San Francisco, people live in tents under overpasses and in alleys. In New York City, it's not unusual to see someone sleeping on a park bench with all their belongings in a shopping cart. What used to be rare, even shocking, has become almost normal. The homeless are no longer hidden. They're right there in front of us, living in parks, sleeping outside train stations, and huddling near heat vents in winter. But it's not just the visuals that are disturbing, it's the numbers. According to the latest reports, over 650,000 people in America are now experiencing homelessness. That's the highest number recorded in recent years. And the reality is probably worse than what's reported. Many people sleep in cars, couch surf with friends, or move from shelter to shelter without being officially counted. These are the hidden homeless, and they're part of the growing crisis, even if they don't always show up in statistics. So, how did we get here? A big part of the answer lies in housing, or more accurately, the lack of affordable housing. Rents have gone through the roof in nearly every major city. A one-bedroom apartment in a place like San Francisco or Los Angeles can easily cost over $2,000 a month, while minimum wage jobs barely scrape together enough for food and transport. Even people with full-time jobs are ending up homeless simply because they can't keep up with rent increases. In fact, many of the homeless today are working people: delivery drivers, retail workers, janitors, people who serve society but are being pushed out of their homes due to rising costs. The situation becomes even worse when unexpected problems hit, like job loss, medical emergencies, or family breakdowns. One hospital bill can wipe out someone's savings. One layoff can force a family onto the streets. There's no safety net for millions of Americans. No backup plan, no second chances. Once you fall behind on rent or miss a couple of paychecks, it can all spiral out of control fast. And if you think shelters are the solution, think again. Shelters are overwhelmed, underfunded, and in many places, unsafe. They offer beds for a night, but no real path out of homelessness. People in shelters often live with fear of violence, of theft, of illness. Many choose to sleep on the street simply because it feels safer. For women, children, and the elderly, the dangers multiply. It's not uncommon for women to face harassment or worse in shelters, while kids growing up without a stable home face emotional trauma that lasts a lifetime. Now, let's talk about mental illness and addiction, two of the biggest factors that push people into homelessness, and also keep them there. In many cities, especially on the West Coast, large numbers of homeless individuals suffer from untreated mental health issues. Some hear voices. Some are haunted by paranoia. Others live in a fog of confusion, unable to navigate services or even understand where they are. Without consistent mental health care, many of these people are left to suffer in silence on sidewalks and in alleyways. Addiction is another piece of the puzzle. In cities like Portland, Seattle, and Philadelphia, the rise of powerful street drugs like fentanyl has created a crisis within a crisis. People addicted to drugs often lose jobs, relationships, and housing. And once on the streets, staying sober becomes nearly impossible. Drugs become a form of escape, a way to numb the pain, the cold, the hunger, and the hopelessness. But let's be clear, not all homeless people are addicts or mentally ill. Many are just poor, plain and simple. Poverty in America is real. It's not always visible, but it's everywhere. And for some, the line between barely surviving and homelessness is paper thin. A car repair, a hospital visit, a stolen paycheck, that's all it takes to end up on the streets. And once you're there, it's hard to come back. The sad truth is, we live in a country with billionaires and food banks just blocks apart, with tech giants and tent cities in the same neighborhoods. The gap between rich and poor is now a canyon, and the people falling into that canyon are landing on cold pavement with nowhere to go. Even worse, many cities have responded to homelessness not with compassion, but with crackdowns. People are being evicted from public parks, their belongings thrown away, their tents bulldozed. Some cities make it a crime to sleep in public, even though there are not enough shelters or affordable homes to go around. It becomes a vicious cycle: arrest, release, back to the street, repeat. It doesn't solve anything. It just hides the problem temporarily. You might ask, where's the government in all this? Truth is, government efforts have been patchy at best. Some cities have tried housing-first programs, offering permanent housing before addressing other issues like addiction or mental health. And while those programs show promise, they are not widespread enough. Budgets are tight, politics gets in the way, and in many states, homelessness is treated more like a nuisance than an emergency. We've also seen gentrification pushing out long-time residents. As wealthier people move into urban neighborhoods, landlords raise rents, local businesses close, and low-income families are displaced. There's nowhere left for them to go, especially when affordable housing projects are few and far between. And it's not just urban areas. Homelessness is rising in suburban and even rural communities, where resources are even scarcer. Let's not forget the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. During the height of the crisis, eviction bans kept many people in their homes. But once those protections expired, thousands were pushed onto the streets. Job losses, inflation, and high medical bills only made things worse. Many people are still trying to recover. But for those who already lost everything, the road back is nearly impossible. And this problem is generational. Many of today's homeless are young people, teenagers kicked out of their homes, LGBTQ youth rejected by families, foster kids who aged out of the system with no support. On the other end, elderly Americans, people who worked their entire lives, are ending up homeless in their 60s and 70s. They sleep in cars or on sidewalks, battling illness and loneliness with no family to turn to. So what do? There's no easy fix, but one thing is clear. We can't ignore this anymore. Homelessness in America isn't going away. It's getting worse. We need real investment in affordable housing. We need healthcare that doesn't bankrupt people. We need mental health services that are easy to access and staffed with professionals who care. We need addiction treatment that's available without red tape. And we need compassion, not just from the government, but from each other. Because behind every tent, behind every cardboard sign, there's a story, a human being, a life full of struggle, pain, and in many cases, resilience. These people are not lazy. They're not worthless. They're not invisible. They are our neighbors, our veterans, our co-workers, our classmates. And if we continue to turn our backs, the problem will only grow. Homelessness is not just a crisis of shelter. It's a crisis of values. What kind of country do we want to be? One that punishes the poor for being poor? Or one that lifts people up when they fall? The homeless population in America has exploded. But we still have a choice. We can either build walls around our privilege, or we can build bridges toward dignity, justice, and a future where no one has to sleep on the streets. The question is, which will it be?